To all who come to this happy place, welcome. This is SNU Does DCP, where SNU students who are DCP alum talk about their experiences with the program. Today, I am joined by my guest, Natalie. Welcome and thank you for being here.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to get to talk to you because we've been talking online for so long, and now we're finally face to face. Just so incredible.
I know. I'm so excited to be here today.
Yes. Okay, we'll start off with an easy question.
Okay.
When was your program and what was your role?
So I did my program fall 2022, and I did quick service food and beverage at Pop Century Resort.
Everyone else at SNU has done food service. I kid you not. I realized it the last time I recorded. I was like, oh, so everyone on this podcast will be in food service. But everyone's in different places. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of, I don't know, there's a little variety.
Yeah, and I noticed that, even though quick service is, the same throughout, the job that you actually do, it's so different at a hotel versus in the parks.
Oh, yeah, because, I worked with some people that would, come and pick up shifts at, the stands in Tomorrowland, and they'd be telling me, I'm like, that's so different. Because it's, you have the food court,
mm-hmm.
and it's different food throughout the day, and meanwhile, every location I worked at, just the same, all day long. But awesome. What made you want to apply?
So my family is a big Disney family, and we grew up going every single year. So for me, I wanted, growing up, I wanted to be, working at Disney. I thought it was so cool. So I decided to apply, and I knew that in college I definitely wanted to do it. I just didn't know, a good timing based on my schedule, because I didn't think that I should go freshman year. I chose the beginning of my junior year, but it really took me a while to actually want to apply because I was nervous about working for Disney and if it would ruin the magic. But I think for me, it really enhanced the magic.
Yeah, I know a lot of people say that's an issue they have where it's they take away from the magic, but mm-hmm. I don't know. I relate to you, and I think that it just made it better for me. Yeah, we kind of know some dirty secrets now, but also I know some other nice secrets, and it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I just know what the inner workings are, and it's kind of good. I don't.
Yeah, I feel I know so much more about the company now because I got to see the behind the scenes, and I have so much more respect for Disney now after working for them.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And so we had almost the same application process,
mm-hmm.
but how was that for you?
Yeah, so because it was right after COVID, really all they did was you just filled out a general application form, kind of a little bit about yourself, and then you did an online questionnaire to see if you were a good fit for the company. But in terms of my application, they didn't ask any questions about your top 3, so they really didn't, for me, taking to any consideration, which I know for other people they do, and I think that's something that they might have brought back.
Yeah.
But for me, I didn't get a top 3 choice, which was a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, I know. It, the way that they do it now, it's kind of better, but also it used to be so much better before. Mm-hmm. For now, with the ranking, so on your initial application, I think, when I did it, it was are you very interested or have low interest in housekeeping, food service, and custodial? And then every other role was yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
So it's they kind of don't give you an option with those first 3. But then, when I had my phone interview, she was oh, what do you want to do?
Yeah. Oh, I also didn't have a phone interview. It was just the normal, are you a good fit? And then it told you at the end if you were a good fit or not, and then you just got an email a week later.
Yeah. You found out eventually.
Yeah.
What did you not expect going into the program, either good or bad?
Okay. I don't think I expected to like it so much. I was really nervous going into the program that, I would hate working for, a big company, and I would miss my family a lot, but I felt the opposite. Something that I didn't like going into it was kind of getting paired. I got to pick my singular roommate, but the other 2 people I didn't get to pick, and I made a really good connection. Actually, I made good connections with them at the beginning, but one of those connections really faded, so it really made my program at the end not enjoyable, and I just wanted to go home.
Were your other 2 roommates already there, like on the other side?
No, so we all moved in the same day.
That's awesome. That's like the best. I wish you could just link with all 4 people so everyone would move in on the same day, but I have my qualms about that. But that's good that you were able to like form those relationships with your roommates during that first week.
And I still have a really good bond with those 2 roommates that I actually enjoyed spending time with. And they're both getting married at the end of this year, and one of them, I'm in their wedding, and she's getting married in Animal Kingdom. And I'm so excited to go.
That's like peak Disney adult, and I love it. I love that. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. But moving on to like some work-related questions.
Okay.
Did you get any unique opportunities or experiences working at Pop Century in the food court?
Not specifically like Pop Century, but quick service in general, which we kind of talked about before, where quick service is universal. The system that they use and the training that you get is the same at any single quick service location, minus like a few like themed restaurants. But I was able to pick up a lot of locations, so I think I picked up at like 11 different locations, and I thought that was so fun to be able to like wear a different costume and go to a different land and work. I was also deployed to Art of Animation for about 3 weeks because they were short-staffed before they got new CPs coming in. So that was a lot of fun to kind of work in a similar place because Pop Century and Art of Animation are very similar, and the way that they do things are universally the same.
That's awesome. Because what other places did you pick up at? Did you have a list?
I do have a list. I kind of have to go through like my photos because I took a photo of myself in every single costume.
That's so fun. I wish I was able to pick up, but I was just scheduled way too much to do that.
Yeah, so that's the other thing about working like at my specific location in quick service. I only got scheduled 6P to 12A and I got 2 days off a week.
Yeah.
So I pretty much had the entire day until 6 p.m. and I just worked 6 p.m. to midnight every single day. So I worked both the Halloween party and I worked the Christmas party as well. Because with the Christmas party, you need to be quick service food and beverage trained in order to pass out the cookies.
Dude, I was so mad that, because I originally applied to stay until November, and I was so mad when they were like, no, you're leaving in October. I was like, I wanted to work at the Christmas party. And then I got to see all my friends work at the Christmas party when I left. I was really upset.
So I worked in all 4 of the parks. So I worked at Sleepy Hollow. I worked at Flame Tree Barbecue. I also worked at Regal Eagle in Epcot. I worked Fantasmic. That was the only one I worked in Hollywood Studios because Hollywood Studios was very hard to get because every one of the places you had to be like themed trained.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Toy Story and Galaxy's Edge. And then they don't have that many quick service outside of that.
Yeah, just Backlot and ABC.
Yeah. Where else did I work? I worked at the Beach Club. I worked at Port Orleans French Quarter. I worked at Fort Wilderness. I always get those 2 mixed up for some reason, just the name of them. I worked in Africa. There's one other place, but I can't remember it, and I can't find a photo for it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And some of them are a lot of repeats I would pick up at the same places. But it was really fun, especially to work in Magic Kingdom. Yeah. I know that's where you work, but for me, it was a lot of fun to work there.
Oh my gosh. No, I love that. It is fun to work at Magic and just, like, look over and see the castle. Yeah. And did you get to see any celebrities when you were down there, either at work or in the parks?
No, I did not.
Oh, it's so sad.
I know. Not too many celebrities want to be staying at Pop Century Resort.
That is true. That is true. I know, I was talking to, Connor, I don't know if you know him, but he worked in, like, ESPN. I was like, that's a perfect place to see celebrities, and he just did not care about looking for the celebrities. I'm like, whatever. So what was your favorite moment from your program?
Some of my favorite moments were definitely, like, making friends at Pop Century because you work with them all of the time. So I think the bond that our group had made at Pop Century of the people that were working there that were CPs, because pretty much all of the night shift was CPs, and then they scheduled all the full-time and part-time people in the morning. So I really enjoyed the bond that we made, and we even had like a going away party at the end, and we all sat around and sang like some of the fireworks show songs like karaoke style, and we all like hugged each other in a big circle. But also like just the individual friends that I made, so just hanging out like with my roommates in the parks was so much fun. Solo days in the parks were a lot of fun. And then also I had 2 hurricanes during my program. I think it was Ian and Nicole.
Yeah, I was down there for Ian. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was...
So we had Hurricane Ride Out, which...
did you like that?
It was very stressful, and the first one was a lot of fun. So basically, you get scheduled, and you come in for, like, whatever time they tell you, and you have to pack a bag for at least 3 days, like an overnight bag. They put you up in the hotel because we're a food court at a hotel, so we were kind of required to be there. So for Ian, they did put us up in a hotel. We came in and worked, and they ended up closing the parks for a day. So nobody could leave the resort, and the only food option was our food court. So I literally stepped out onto the floor from the backstage area, saw the entire crowd. I could not see the floor of our food court, and I cried because I was so stressed out and overwhelmed. But once you start, they just kind of put you in one position when you do Hurricane Ride Out. You don't really switch from that position because there's so many people and there's so many things going on. Your leaders and courts are so busy just trying to like guest manage people that you kind of just stayed in one position and you just kept going and going and going. And they do provide food for you. So you got like a short break and they would tell you like, go eat, spend as much time as you need, but like don't spend too long and then come back to the same position. So I liked the position, and I really think that the position that I worked made the Hurricane Ride Out good or not. But for the first one, I got paired with, like, a full-time person that I didn't know, so it was really awkward, like, sleeping in a room with that person. But she was really nice. She also didn't speak much English, so it was kind of hard to talk to her. But the second ride out was a lot shorter of a time that we were there, and I got put on register. And I hated register, and there were just so many people at one time because the people would go and get their food first and then come to you to check out with their food, and it was just really stressful. And I was just, like, mentally exhausted. But also, they didn't give us a lot of sleep time because they sent us to our hotels and gave us our key cards a little after midnight after we closed. And then we were required to be back at 5 a.m. So we got, like, 4 hours off by the time, like...
That's not good.
No. So we were also, like, just so tired. And my friends and I just ended up sleeping in one room because we're like, well... We're not sleeping, really, because we have to be back at 5 a.m. to open for everyone to come for 6 a.m. So that wasn't fun. And then I just went home and slept. And I ended up calling out that evening because then they told us, I ended up leaving at like 1 o'clock, and they told us, go home and then come in for your regular shift that night. So then they wanted me back from 6 to midnight, and that wasn't happening. So I called out.
I totally don't blame you. Like, I hear mixed opinions on, like, whether Hurricane Ride Out is good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
I know my friend worked, she just finished her program in January, and she was working at the Contemporary Lounge. And she was like, oh, I'm so scared for if we have to do a Hurricane Ride Out. I'm like, it's, like, not awful, but also, like, I got paid for those 2 days off that Magic Kingdom was closed, so.
Yeah. I mean, the Hurricane Ride Out paycheck is really nice because once you clock in, you do not clock out. So for, like, the day and a half that I was working, and you even get paid to sleep, you don't clock out to sleep.
That's so nice.
Yeah. So the paycheck was very nice, considering the paycheck that I normally got while working at Disney was really small, especially because you had to pay for Flamingo housing, which was kind of a lot.
Yeah. But Hurricane Ride Out, that's fun, and...
It was fun, but very stressful.
Yeah. And speaking of stressful, what was the most challenging aspect of your program?
I would definitely say navigating with my roommate. Because we did have a very good bond at the beginning. She lived in Massachusetts right across the border from where I was from. So we kind of built that connection right away. But it just kind of, I don't want to get into too many details. And I won't say her name or anything because she still works at Disney and she still lives down there. It was kind of one of those that, like, she would start with one roommate and then, like, make them the one that everyone hated, and then kind of go around the group out of all the other roommates. And then they were just very messy. Not that, like, I'm a super clean person or the rest of us were super clean, but they were just, like, so messy that, like, they would leave their stuff around, leave dishes in the sink for, like, weeks. And, like, it just kind of got tiring because, like, I didn't want to take care of their stuff, but also I didn't want roaches.
Yeah. I've heard some pretty bad roommate stories, and that doesn't sound fun.
But it kind of turned into one of those that, like, I don't remember if she texted me first or I texted her, but just kind of, like, standing my ground and just kind of telling her, like, what is frustrating me, not putting anything on her. And I kind of got the opposite of she's making herself the victim and everything. And then from there, it just turned into just us not talking, going our separate ways. But then she kind of took it an extra step of she's going to hide in her room and then pretend like I'm, like, mentally abusing her and, like, not letting her come out of her room. And, like, she even told my roommate that she was going to, like, threaten a restraining order, but, like, I'd left her alone. Like, I didn't talk to her. I didn't interact with her. I did nothing to, like...
This is a tea.
Yes! Like, I would come out of, like, I would spend most of my time either in my bedroom or, like, I would go into the kitchen, like, if I needed to. Like, we were on opposite sides. Yeah. But, like, besides that, like, I didn't really spend too much time at home. I was, like, out with my friends, and she would be like, well, I couldn't come out of my room for 2 weeks to eat because you were here. I didn't do anything. You could have come out of your room and come and gotten your own food or done your laundry or...
That's so awful.
So it just made it, like, so miserable at the end. But sorry. I just kind of had to, like, push past that. And, like, I can't term because I can't let her get to me.
Yeah.
Because, like, as much as I wanted... Terming is, like, when you decide to leave. Like, as much as I wanted to because she was making it, like, so miserable, like, I couldn't let her get to me.
Yeah, you just had to, like, push
because, like, through. I was enjoying my time, whether she was there or not.
Yeah, other than that.
Yeah, other than that.
Other than that. Oh, that's awful. I'm sorry that happened.
So, make sure, like, you really pick your roommates correctly.
Yeah, and just... Like, the roommate situation is so difficult. Like, on my phone interview this time around, they were like... They were like, oh, like, how was Flamingo last time? Like, how are your roommates? I'm like, oh my god, I love my roommates. I still talk to them. They're like, okay, but, like, do you have skills to deal with issues with roommates? And I was like, oh, yeah, I know, I promise. So I think that it's good that they're asking that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because, like, you need to be an adult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, we're all adults doing this, and it's...
Yeah.
I don't know how old
and listening to, like, some of my coworkers and, like, their horror stories that were, like, a lot worse than mine because they got paired with someone, like, they're, like, 20 and they got paired with someone in, like, their 40s because Disney doesn't put a cap on what age that you can do the college program. So listening to, like, some of their horror stories are, like, that they had to switch roommates and, like, my situation was definitely not as bad as theirs.
I feel like your situation's up there. It's definitely up there, like... That's bonkers. Anyways, we can move on from that because I feel like it's a little crazy. So we already talked about this earlier outside, but you said you couldn't take any online classes during your program.
Yes. So I am an elementary education major here at SNHU. So SNHU does not offer education programs online, so you have to be in person. So unfortunately I did have to take a semester off, so I'm a semester behind. So I would be graduating in a few weeks, but I will instead be graduating in December, which I think is totally fine. Like, there's nothing that really, like, holds you to, like, you have to graduate in exactly 4 years.
Yeah, and, like, you took the time off, so you kind of knew what you were doing, and you're happy that you made this decision.
Yeah, and I think that was a really good decision for me because I was kind of getting a little burnt out from just taking classes and coming here every day because I do commute. So I think it was a nice kind of change of pace.
That's awesome. And how did you like Flamingo? Because was it your first time living away from home?
Yes. So since I do commute, I do still live at home with my parents. So it was my first time living away from my parents, but I definitely am more of an independent kind of person, so I don't really rely on my parents too much, even though I just live with them. So I could definitely handle myself and living by myself. But I thought Flamingo was beautiful. I really liked my room.
What room style were you in?
I was in a 4x2, so I got my own bedroom, but I shared a bathroom with the roommate that I picked, and I'm still really good friends with her. We talk all the time.
That's so awesome.
But Flamingo as a whole, I really liked it because it was kind of like a resort times like apartment complex.
Yeah.
Like it had a gym that was really nice. It had 2 giant pools. It had a lot of activities. So it was kind of set up like a college campus, resort, and an apartment.
Complex, yeah. And speaking of the events, did you go to any of them?
I only went to the welcoming ceremony. So they put on a big party when they have like a big move-in time. So when I went, I moved in like August 29th, which was the end of the move-in season. So a lot of people that came at the beginning of August ended up going to this party as well, and they just had food, music, getting to meet new people.
I'm sure you've seen the TikTok. So your elementary education, so I'm sure that you don't want to do the program again, but do you see yourself working for Disney in a different capacity in the future?
So I do not plan on doing the college program again as much as I want to, but I'm really excited to become a teacher. So I kind of just want to jump into that and then get my career started. But at some point, I think I would like to work just like as an online sort of doing something, whether that's like working with DVC or like something I could do at my computer at home as like a little part-time job. But I know those are very hard to get into, so I probably won't, which is really sad. But that's okay.
Disney will always be a part of you.
Yes, I will always visit.
You're always a cast member in your heart.
Yes.
And how did the program impact you personally or professionally? And how are you going to carry that into the rest of your college experience and your future career?
So, even though I worked in quick service food and beverage, which was not my first choice, and going into it was very upsetting that I got food and beverage, as most other food and beverage people probably agree. I did make the most out of it. It was a lot of fun in the end, and I'm glad I got that role. And I learned a lot in the sense of customer service. I had a lot of people at my work that didn't speak English that we would end up working with sometimes, especially if you were a morning shift. So just working with your coworkers and navigating language barriers, even language barriers with your guests, because a lot of them didn't speak English, couldn't speak at all. So, and then navigating people with like disabilities, because sometimes you would just go to extra step and like if you saw someone in like a wheelchair or an ECV, I would carry their tray to their table and stuff like that. I learned a lot of good communication skills because sometimes you did have to kind of go talk to your leaders about needing a day off or something that's bothering you. So I think those skills are definitely very impactful because I learned how to work with people and how to communicate, which can reflect, even though like I won't necessarily 100% of the time be working with adults, it's mainly children, but I still learned those good like communication skills and how to work with other people for like working with administration or working with parents.
That's so awesome that you were able to get so much out of it. I feel like a lot of people don't understand how much we're able to get out of the experience, because like for a lot of people this is their first time like in a professional, for lack of a better word, setting, and yeah, like navigating with leaders and coordinators and guests, like you get so much out of that, so much experience. And like I remember I got credit for the internship for going to Disney, and I'd have to write papers on like what I learned and stuff like that, and it was always like navigating all those different communication issues and boundaries and stuff like that. So that's so awesome. And were you able to do any networking with any other participants or people that you worked with?
Really the only networking I guess I did was I like made some of my leaders were from like New England, so I really got to know them, and I'm like friends with like my leaders and my cords on Facebook besides that. But no one really did like elementary ed, so there's nothing that I felt could benefit me in my future career. But there are definitely like some where a lot of the other people I worked with are now doing things in the food and beverage field and are pretty high up. because they were able to network and show that, like, they worked for Disney.
Yeah, I feel like especially with like CPs, so many of my chords at Cosmics were CPs to begin with. So, like, if that's what you're interested in, or if that's how you're gonna get a leg up, like, that's a great starting place. And we're almost at the end of our questions.
Okay.
But looking back, is there anything that you wish you knew before starting your program?
Maybe just, like, how much fun I would have. It was a lot of fun. As, like, someone who goes to Disney a lot, like, it's very different to be able to go by yourself and not maybe with your family, because that's how I went. I went with my parents, I went with my siblings, I went with extended family, but it was a lot more fun, and it gives such a different experience going by yourself or going with friends that you made down at the program.
Yeah, no, going to the parks alone was, like, kind of my favorite part.
Yeah. Because, like, I was able to, like, slow down and, like, really look at everything. Sometimes I would go to the park and, like, if I was going to Epcot, just do, like, a couple of the countries and, like, really explore the gift shops and, like, look at the food and, like, try a lot of the food. That was also one of my favorite things, was trying almost every single item at the Food and Wine Fest, because usually when I would go down, I would have a day. So I'd have to pick, like, the most favorite things that, like, I wanted to try. But I was actually able to try, like, a lot of the things because I was there for pretty much the entire length of the festival.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And can you share any funny or interesting stories from your program?
I don't know.
It's a hard question.
I know.
You
go into my pictures. Okay, so we got these meal coupon tickets for Christmas, and that were like 30% off, 40% off, 50% off, stuff like that. Yeah. So it was right around Thanksgiving time, and we found, me and my friend that I hung out with most of the time, we found dining reservations for the Cinderella storybook dining at the Wilderness Lodge. So we're like, oh, we gotta go. Like, I heard that's like a really one that a lot of people like to go to. We didn't really look at the menu, and we ended up booking it for like someone must have canceled like 2 hours before. So then we went. We're sitting down, we're eating, we're having a lot of fun. The food's okay. It was good food, but it wasn't like our taste. And then we gave him our dining coupon, and they didn't accept it. So it was a very expensive meal. And then at this dining, so you can meet Snow White, Grumpy, Dopey, and the Evil Queen. But the Evil Queen only meets in one spot, and you can only meet her at the end of your dining. So we're already, like, laughing, thinking it's hilarious that we just, like, totally messed up on this coupon thing, and we just had to spend so much money to eat here when we didn't have that money. We did, but, like, not a lot of money. Yeah. So then we get put with the Evil Queen, and we're waiting in line, and she, like, it's her character to be mean, but she was just, like, extra mean, and I, like, tried to stand next to my friend. So it was, like, the Evil Queen, my friend, and me. And then she yelled at me because I was standing on the wrong side and, like, told me I was stupid and I don't know how to count and do math. So the picture where our faces are bright red, and it was the funniest thing, and we couldn't stop laughing for days.
Oh I love
like,
that.
even in the picture, like, we're just, like, laughing hysterically because she was just so funny, and she was like, what are you guys laughing at?
Not you. Oh my gosh, those coupons are, like, so awful because it's like, what counts?
Yeah. Like, I was so scared to use them because I was like, I would have to ask first and be like, can I actually use this here? Because there were, like, so many places where, like, it didn't count.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah, I hear that. And then this is our last question.
Okay.
But what would you tell other people who are thinking of applying for the DCP?
I think that you should definitely do it. For me, I was nervous to do it, and I really contemplated doing the program or not. But I think in the end, it really benefited me to go and do it, as it was, like, one of my dreams. And, like, I really live by, like, you only have one shot at life, so do what you want, kind of. And, like, if you want to do it and you want to work for Disney, do it now, especially when you're in college, because it's a lot easier to get into the college program and then work your way up through the program than just starting part-time or starting full-time. I know a lot of people that, like, even just the other cast members I met down there that are full-time and part-time started out as a CP because they see that, like, you've already worked for the company.
Yeah, it's like such a great experience. It's really once in a lifetime kind of. So you just kind of saw your opportunity and you went for it. That's so awesome.
Yeah, I would definitely go for it. It was like the most fun I've ever had, and like here we are 2 years later, and I'm still talking about it.
Yes, and I think that's like the best part because like it'll carry with you the rest of your life.
Yeah, and like I've made such great connections. Like those. I really ended up coming out of it with, like, 3 really close friends. But of those 3 close friends, like, I'm going to 2 of their weddings. I talk to them all the time. We've planned vacations together. And, like, even just the people I wasn't as close with, but, like, I still worked with, we're still friends on Facebook. We comment on each other's photos. Like, we're still close where we can all still talk sometimes.
Yes.
So, a lot of great connections.
It really is, like, the people you get out of it. And that's why I'm so glad that we get to do this that I get to do this podcast and kind of we all get to share experiences with each other because other people just don't get it.
Yeah.
Other people don't understand and to them be like a little crazy. It is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like thinking about it from an outsider's perspective, but I'm just glad we all get to share these experiences and kind of bond over it because no one else gets it.
Yeah, and we were talking about that before, just like talking to other people and like they just don't get it and they'd be like, well, what character were you friends with?
Yes, or like, so like, what did you major in? I'm like, no, it's
no,
no, it's not.
I thought you were going to college at Disney.
Yes, they're like, so what do you? Yeah, it really is something else, but I'm so happy that we get to do this and. Thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me and letting me tell you about my experience.
No problem. This is just such a great experience. And so our journey comes to an end, but yours continues on. Applications for the fall 2024 semester are still open, so if you're interested, make sure you do that as soon as possible. Thank you, Natalie, for joining me today, and that was the 4th episode of SNU Does DCP. And this is actually my last episode, but I will see you all real soon.